welcome to my channel. My name is Emma McPherson. If you're new here, please like this video if you enjoy it and subscribe. And hit that bell notification so you don't miss any videos from me in the future. This is actually part 2 of a 2-part series. I will have a card right here if you're interested in watching part 1. In this video, we're going to be talking about our essential expenses and how we can bring those down. So the first thing that we have to pay for each month if we want a place to live is either going to be rent or mortgage. How can we bring that living expense down? So there are actually many different ways that we can do this. We can sublet if you're renting. And depending on the laws where you live, you could even rent out if you have a spare bedroom, you could rent that out on Airbnb. This is especially useful if you live in an area where tourism is a thing. Honestly, not a lot of tourism here in Oklahoma, but subletting or even getting a roommate is a good option if you're looking to basically subsidize your housing costs. If you're someone who is interested in buying a home, please look up house hacking because it really is a very interesting thing. I don't own a home myself, but many people will buy a duplex and live in one part of the duplex and rent out the other part of the duplex. And sometimes this means that they live for free. Other times it's basically just a huge discount on your living expenses. So that is something to look into if you are looking to buy a resident. Another thing, and I realize that this is something that takes money to be less expensive, but if you are thinking of buying a house, putting down a larger down payment on your home will bring down your monthly cost out of pocket and save you a lot of money in interest long term. Also, living just outside of more expensive areas in town, if you're in an urban area, for instance, me and my husband, we have this little 2-bedroom home, and we are about 30 minutes from downtown. Now, if we were to be even 15 minutes closer to downtown, then it would easily cost us a couple more $100s a month to rent something that is exactly the same. So unless it's going to hurt your mental health to not live in those expensive areas, and for most people it won't hurt your mental health, it might be worth looking into to move just outside of those expensive areas to save yourself hundreds or even thousands of dollars every year. The second thing that we all have to pay for is utilities. How can we bring down the cost of utilities? Now, we all need water and electricity, and if you're in a house like mine, also gas. But we can minimize our uses of these things. Replacing faucets and shower heads with water-efficient alternatives. Also, with your water heater, you can get it's basically like a cute little blanket to wrap around the water heater and it just insulates it. I think those things are really cute. Also, replacing all of your light bulbs in the house with energy efficient alternatives. I actually did this in our home last year, and this ended up saving us about $8 a month on our energy bill. And although that's not a lot in the short term, and I did probably spend about $60 on light bulbs, over time, I'm going to more than make that back because the light bulbs I purchased last 5 to 10 years. Also, if you live in an older home like mine, it's possible that maybe you have a draft in your home. Determining where that air is coming from can often be very helpful. Last year, I actually found that we had a couple of holes in our house and I ended up sealing those off. Also, there was a gap in between our trim and our floorboard throughout the entire house, so I caulked all of that. And after I did these things, we ended up saving another $12 a month on our energy bill, which caulk is cheap. So you should definitely look into filling any holes in your house, or even if it's a larger hole, getting some of that foam insulation that expands. Super useful. We had a hole under our sink that we did that with. It's great. Also, I've heard that a lot of the times you can save a lot on your energy bill and also help to keep your home warm in the winter and cool in the summer if you buy those little insulators that you put in your outlets. And I actually did this last year around the same time I did all of the caulking, so that $12 figure also probably figures in the insulation that we now have around all of our outlets. But these are actually very cheap things that you can do to make your home not only warmer or cooler depending on the season, but also save you a lot of money in the long term. The next thing that we have to spend money on each month, or most of us do, is Wi Fi and a phone plan of some sort. Now, of course, it is very important to shop around and make sure that you're getting the best rate. Depending on where you live, you might want to go with one carrier over the other. But even if you don't want to switch providers, you can call your provider and ask them if they can lower your rate. I actually did this with our Wi Fi bill 2 weeks ago, and they brought our bill down $6 a month without me having to do anything except for call. So definitely worth it. $6 a month is not a lot short term, but in the long term, it really does add up. Also, if you call them, maybe they have some specials going on. Maybe you can sign up for a contract and get a steep discount. What about insurance? I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record here, maybe, but you really, really need to shop around for this. Honestly, if I hadn't shopped around, I could easily be paying $100 more per month for the same car insurance that I have. And even though I have Geico and I do recommend looking at their rates, different insurance carriers use different factors and algorithms to figure out what your personal rate is. So even if your friend has provider A, and they have a great rate with them, you might actually get a better rate with carrier B because you and your friend are not the exact same individual, and so your risk will be weighted differently depending on the provider that you choose. What about car maintenance? Again, shopping around. We actually had to repair the AC on my car. Now, the first quote that we got was $900. Ooh, that's a lot of money, right? The second quote that we got was $700. Now, that's still a big chunk of change, but that $200 is no small amount. Also, when you shop around, you can actually leverage your price at different shops and say, oh, this shop gave me this quote. Can you match it? Can you beat it? Especially if you really want to give your business to a certain shop over the other, if you maybe have a rapport, you can just honestly be like, hey, I'm trying to save myself some money here. Can you match this price? If not, I'm going to go with this other person. And oftentimes you can get a better quote because of that, or at least a quote that is the same, in which case you can choose who to give your business to, which shop you actually like better. Also, for smaller things and typical maintenance, doing it yourself can save you a lot of money because the price of labor is no joke. For instance, I buy and install my own windshield wipers, and I pay a third of what I would pay at the shop for the same exact thing, and that extra cost, of course, there's a markup, but also I avoid being charged for the labor. So maintaining your car yourself in ways like this can also save you a lot of money long term. What about medical expenses? This is actually the one that I was most excited about talking about because I had no idea how to save money on medical expenses a few years ago, but time and experience has taught me so dang much. First of all, you always, always, always want to get an itemized bill for any stays in the hospital or medical procedures that you have done. I actually had two different procedures done in the same month, and I got, the regular non-itemized bill. I asked for itemized bills on both of them, and I found $107 worth of mistakes. And I got all of that money back. Even if you hardly ever go to see the doctor, $107 is definitely worth a short phone call to get an itemized bill, the 10 minutes it takes to look at the itemized bill and make sure it's correct, and then maybe another 10 minutes to call and let them know, hey, there's a mistake on my bill. Also, if you are someone who is in a low income bracket for your area, many hospitals will simply write off services that they provide for you. This is based on your ability to pay, and the hospitals will write these charges off basically as donations, and it's a tax benefit for them. So you get free hospital services and they get a tax write off. So everybody wins. And unfortunately, I've had it happen once before where I really just couldn't afford my medical bill. And unfortunately, at the time, I didn't know about how I should have gotten it itemized. And I didn't know about the services that hospitals provide where they will give you free care if you're under a certain income limit. Because they don't really tell you about these programs unless you ask and you kind of look for that. Because I honestly would have qualified at the time, but I just could not pay this bill. And I got it in the mail and I did nothing. And then I got another one in the mail and I did nothing. And I got another one in the mail and I did nothing. And then I finally called them to say, hey, I see that this says you guys are about to send this to collections. I don't have the money. What can I do? And they actually settled with me for 2/3 of the amount that they originally wanted. So, if worse comes to worse, even if you don't qualify for those lower income programs, sometimes if you just wait, they will settle with you for a lesser amount. And that's not the best idea, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you are desperate and you have no other option, then that is often something they will be willing to negotiate with you because a lot of the times they just want some money and not everything that they're asking for. Boy, oh boy, this fun last one, debt. How can we minimize our debt and our debt payments each month? If you are someone who cannot knock that debt out of the park to get rid of it right now and to get rid of those interest payments that no doubt come with it, something that you can do is give your creditors a call and try to negotiate with them. You can often negotiate a lower interest rate. And sometimes, if you call and you get someone friendly on the other end of the line, they will even wipe out the current balance of interest. Also, if you have credit card debt, a debt consolidation loan can often be a lifesaver because the interest rate on a debt consolidation loan versus the interest rate on a credit card, the difference is staggering. Which, again, you definitely want to shop around for different loans and different rates and make sure that you get the best one for you. But if and when you find a debt consolidation loan that works for you, this can often save you thousands of dollars in interest over the long term. Also important to look at is not only the upfront cost of consolidation, but also the long-term costs. So be sure that when you are getting quotes for these loans that you get the final number that you will be paying overall in service fees and interest, etc., etc. Because when you can see the big picture, it really helps in making these large financial decisions. Another thing, if you already have a mortgage and you have a good amount of equity, oftentimes lenders will allow you to consolidate your debt into your home loan, which can even be a lot better than a debt consolidation loan because the interest rate will be the interest rate you get for home loans. So in most cases, it's much lower even than a consolidation loan, and in turn can save you thousands of dollars even over a consolidation loan due to you not having to pay all of that interest. All right, guys, so that was my list of essential expenses and how we can possibly lower them. If you found any of this useful, please leave a like. If you have any tips yourself that you'd like to share with others, or any questions, or even topics you'd like to see me cover in the future, then please leave those down in the comment section below. I would really love to hear from you. I hope that you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not already and hit that bell notification if you have not already. And I will see you guys next Thursday. Thank you so much for watching.